going on, everybody? I got like a little of that Lisa Ann does better fantasy better vibe going on there with the music. But welcome in. This is Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm Howard Bender. Boogieing next to me here, Andrew Cooper at Coop A Fiasco on the old Twitter machine. Make sure you're giving him a follow. You can follow me too at RotoBuzz Guy if you like. Britt Flynn away this week, so it's just me and Coop. You guys,
boys are back in town. The boys are back.
Oh my! Let's go.
Let's go.
You guys can put some questions into chat, absolutely. But Coop and I have a lot of ground to cover here. Also, keep in mind tonight it's Thursday. We get it. It's Thursday night football. After this show, I'm going to start, doing some more work. I got to write up a little best bets article. But I'll be on social media and in the Fantasy Alarm Discord trying to answer some questions. But Thursday night here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page, like, subscribe, mark it all down. Andrew Cooper, John Mpemba, 1 full hour from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. There's nothing but Q&A. Nothing but. You got questions, they got answers. So if we don't get to your question here, you can either go to the Fantasy Alarm Discord or just wait until 7 p.m. Eastern, and Coop and John Mpemba going to take you guys through it. Well, Coop, what's going on, man? Little bit of news happening from the last time you and I were doing the show here. What's news to you?
I think he's the greatest guy in the whole wide world.
That's rough, dude. Burns, baby, let's go. You gotta respect Brian Burns, right? You gotta love and respect.
I love and respect Brian Burns, and he's got to do what he's got to do.
He's got to do what he's got to do.
Got to do what he's got to do. Yeah, I mean, big news. We got to hit on first and foremost, right? The Cam Akers trade. He wanted out. They healthy scratched him. He said that he didn't even expect it, and just like that, shipped off to the tundra of Minnesota. And my goodness, could it have been a worse week for Alexander Mattison backers? Because he goes out, has a brutal game, loses the fumble, and then they pretty much immediately go out and say, we need help, and bring in Cam Akers. So first thoughts there, Howard, is Cam Akers impact, Alexander Mattison impact? What are we thinking?
Well, all right. So my biggest concern with this was after the game on Thursday Night Football, Alexander Mattison got crazy DMs and social media messages, racial slurs, death threats, just, this nauseating, absolutely nauseating. And for anybody out there who tweets at or anything to a professional athlete about the game or about fantasy football, just because you buy a ticket to the game or just because you're a fan of the game doesn't mean you can say whatever the hell you want. Shut the hell up. Like, right. It's utterly ridiculous. So my big concern here was actually that I was worried that Madison just wasn't of the right headspace. And so you go and you make a trade. You don't really give up all that much, but you go and you're dealing with stuff. And you bring in Akers because I don't know what Madison's headspace is like. Right. So that's definitely a concern for me as well. Now, I think he did get the endorsement from Kevin O'Connell about him being his guy, but let's also remember this. Head coach Kevin O'Connell, offensive coordinator Wes Phillips of the Minnesota Vikings, they were coaches together in Los Angeles when Akers was like first brought into the team, and they all won together. And so now you kind of put that like whole aspect where you're like, oh geez, like there's when a coach goes out and gets one of his former players, and you see that in any sport, I think you got to pay attention to that.
Right. And you also don't have to have the ramp up period that other guys have, going from one system to another. Sometimes it's like learning another language. This guy already knows the plays, right? Like he's going to have a package of plays ready to go that he already knows, right? Even if they installed new stuff, you could probably pick that up pretty easily because the language is the same. Right. When you talk about what you call motion, right. They call it like Lucy or Roger or whatever, like it's all the same language. So it's sometimes you go to a new team and it's like trying to learn Spanish. This guy already knows Spanish. So it should be a pretty easy ramp up for Akers.
It should be. I mean, that's the thing. I'm trying to remember what team it was that just announced that they were going to change the verbiage at the line of scrimmage to like oversimplify it. Was that I feel like it might have been Denver.
Yes. Where they're changing the audibles and stuff. Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that it's like easier to deal with and whatnot. But so for me, like I'll keep I've got Cam Akers on a couple of rosters. I have no problem with that. I will keep him stashed, and I just want to wait and see what happens. If he's available on waivers and you've got that sixth wide receiver or that second tight end, the guy who's never going to see the light of day in your lineup, then yeah, I think Akers is definitely worth a speculative ad. Do you?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And he was dropped in a ton of teams because he was a healthy scratch. People were just, saying whatever. So he's out there. I scooped him up in one. I actually had dropped him in a different league and I did not get him back, but it is what it is. I added Kyron Williams, so I feel better about that anyway. But definitely worth an ad for your zero RB guys out there that are still struggling. People that lost Chubb, people that lost Barkley, and it's only going to get worse. So definitely worth throwing on a roster. Absolutely.
All right. What else is going on in the news? Do I have to do the
You know what, Britt Flynn out there, we need you back. We want you back. She's our news correspondent. I'm doing my best to fill that chair right now. So Justin Fields is one where very interesting yesterday. They asked him about his robotic play, and he said he doesn't feel like himself. And in that conversation, he straight up said, I think it might be coaching, right? Afterwards, he gathered everybody around, all the reporters at his locker to kind of walk that back and say, what I meant was that maybe I'm thinking too much about the coaching and what they're saying, and I'm not being myself out there. So he did walk it back a little bit, but I don't know. Basically, the gist of it that I got is that he said he implied that the way he wants to play is running around, being creative, scrambling around, doing all his stuff. And maybe he's thinking too much about what the coaches want, which is for him to actually drop back and throw the ball like a normal pocket passer. So I don't know which Justin Fields would you rather see, Howard? Would you rather see him just continue to try to transition into a normal passing quarterback, or would you want to see last year's Justin Fields that was
No, I think one of the things, and we've kind of talked about this, and you can date it back to RG3, right? It's like when he got hurt and then he came back and they were like, all right, you're not gonna run around anymore. We're gonna make you a pure pocket passer. And that just doesn't jibe with a player's style, and that doesn't jibe with Justin Fields' style. And I mean, listen, do you have to be a big boy and understand that the mics are hot and you can't sit there and say crap about your coaches and then turn around and be like, no, I didn't say that. Sorry, we've got you recorded here right now. We know exactly what you said, and we can replay it back for you if you really want to. But for the same token, you drafted Justin Fields to be a certain type of player. You drafted him for that reason. So if you're going to turn around now and you're going to say, well, now I got to change this guy's style completely, right? Jim Bob Cooter's not saying that. Jim Bob Cooter's like, he's like, you know what? Whatever happens with Anthony Richardson, just go out there. We're not going to limit his running. We're not going to tell him to be a different player. This is the guy that we drafted, and whatever. Concussions be damned. They're not doing that with Justin Fields in Chicago, and they're really trying to alter it. And it's not going to work. That's the problem, is that it's not going to work. So, I'm kind of curious to see what gives first. Is it going to be Eberflus and Getsy, or is it going to be, Justin Fields? Who's going to be the odd person out?
That's always the battle, right? It's always the battle because somebody has to fall on the sword, right? So I think it should be Ryan Poles first and foremost, because I go through and look at what he's done. I mean, what we're looking at right now, and you pretty much explained it, is the sunk cost fallacy. You trade away the first round pick for a wide receiver. You want your quarterback to actually throw him the ball, right? So that's a big part of what's going on here. But Ryan Poles, if this DJ Moore thing doesn't pan out, what he's done the last couple of years with drafting Velus Jones Jr. did obviously, as of now, a pretty big bust, right? Traded for Chase Claypool, a pick that became the 32nd pick, so technically a first-round pick. That is feeling pretty bad. He also let Allen Robinson walk, and the Rams paid Allen Robinson a bunch of money. And if they did nothing, they would have collected a compensatory pick. Instead, they canceled out that compensatory pick by signing Byron Pringle, who is no longer on the team. So at least at the wide receiver position, Ryan Poles is not ideal. It hasn't been hot. So I think he's probably the first one that you're going to see get the boot. but and then I mean, Eberflus got to get pretty close. I mean, the Bears organization, we're obviously not going to get into it, had probably one of the worst days an organization could have had just yesterday. So it's pretty bad over there. We have the clips, Howard. Did you want to check them out or for the
Fields? Go ahead. Let's throw Justin Fields under the bus.
Let's infer for ourselves, see how we feel. Let's watch the first, Burns, if you have the one he originally said, and then we'll check the locker room update clip.
Wasn't necessarily playing my game. Felt like I was kind of robotic and not playing like myself. So my goal this week is just to say F it and just go out there and play football how I know how to play football. Thinking less and just going out there and, playing off of instincts rather than just, so much, so to say, info in my head, data in my head, and literally just going out there playing football. I mean, just going back to it's a game. That's when, I play my best is I'm just out there playing free and being myself. So bump all the, what I should do, what I pocket stuff, like I'm gonna go out there and be me. So yeah.
When you're playing like yourself, what does that look like?
We'll see. So
when you say thinking less, what do you think was causing you to think so much, maybe think too much?
Could be coaching, I think. But at the end of the day, it makes it they're doing their job when they're giving me what to look at and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I can't be thinking about that when the game comes. I prepare myself throughout the week, and then when the game comes, it's time to play free at that point. So just thinking less and playing more.
The moment he said coaching, the reporters in that room were like, "Ladies and gentlemen, we got him."
Ding 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 ding! Oh, this won't be good.
Right? They literally just ran out of the room to try to get an internet connection and get that up there. Like, oh boy! All right, yikes! So let's see him walk it back a little bit. Then Burns, if you could pull up this.
You guys' jobs are to get clicks, so it's like when you take my quote out of context and when you just say that, if you paint the picture on the inside out, like y'all are trying to split us up as a team. I'm not blaming anything on the coaches. I'm never going to blame anything on the coaches, never going to blame anything on my teammates. I will take whatever happens in the game, I will take all the blame. I don't care if it's a drop pass, it should have been a pass. Put it on me. But never will you hear anything come out of my mouth to where I will blame it on somebody else. In this organization, my teammates, never will you hear that. So I just want to clear that up and just know that, like, I need to play better. That's it, point blank. If y'all, that's what I should have said in the first place. But I was trying to give y'all more details because I appreciate y'all for doing what y'all do, and I try to give y'all the information y'all want for you guys' job. So I'm gonna do that, and in the future, but I ask you guys just to put the whole quote out. Don't cut it up into words and pieces to make it seem like I'm saying something that I'm not. So again, appreciate you guys what you do, and y'all are blessed. That's it.
I don't even know if they really cut it up that much. I mean, he said coaching, right?
You heard him clearly say coaching.
He said one word, right? So I don't know. That is kind of a tough one. The funny narrative that I was thinking about was that he said the first quote, and then they released Nathan Peterman, who was there as like a veteran presence, and then after the second quote, within a few hours, they signed him back to the 53.
Re-signed him.
It's like, get Peterman out of here. He's getting in our quarterback's head. And then shortly after, he's like, you know what? Get him back here. I guess
get him back here because I don't know if this guy's gonna last anymore.
Yikes! Yeah, for real. So I don't know, man. I understand both sides. I truly do, because obviously I get what Justin Fields is trying to say is that he wants to be himself. He's thinking too much about what the coaches are saying, but at the same time, you don't want any disconnect there. You want your quarterback thinking about what the coaches are saying and coming back over after the play and doing the whole coach high five thing and being like, I did what you said. You know what I mean? You don't want him being like, thanks for the advice, but I'm gonna do my thing, right? Which is kind of what he said there, is that we're gonna see his style and forget what the coaches are saying. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Aaron Rodgers built an entire career out of saying, I don't care what my coach says. I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
Right. Nathaniel Hackett has built an entire career on letting him do it. So,
exactly. 100%. That's why every time somebody says the Jets are going to bring in a veteran quarterback, I'm like, why?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Makes no sense.
No, they're going to have to bring in an OC as well. So, that's an interesting one there. But we'll finish the news here, and then we'll get to we'll clear the deck on some questions. So, guys in the chat, we're definitely going to hit on your questions. One thing that came up, Howard, tropical cyclone could impact some games this weekend. It's always a different name for these storms. You know, I'm not a weatherman, right? But tropical cyclone sounds bad, doesn't it? Like it definitely sounds rough. So it's going to be East Coast. We're looking at Washington, Buffalo, Baltimore, Indy, and the Patriots Jets game. Nothing. This Patriots Jets game is already supposed to be garbage, and now they're going to play it in a cyclone. Boy, not feeling great about Garrett Wilson with that, right?
Not feeling great about any player in that one.
No, I know.
Not even the ground. Like that's the thing. Also, is that when you're, I also don't want to like deal with the ground game. You know, we see all these injuries that are going on with running backs right now. You know, and some are from hits and some are non-contact and whatever. But I mean, I don't know what the surface is like. And this game's in New England, right? Is it?
No, this
grass?
one's in New York. This one's New York.
Oh, it's in MetLife. Oh, okay.
MetLife,
So
yeah.
there you go. The turf monster,
Turf monster.
going to be lurking. As soon as the field gets that slick, like I'd be very surprised to see Breece Hall get like a ton of work, you know, because of his knee and coming back from that. And if the weather's going to be, if the field's going to be slick and the weather's going to be bad, I'll just kind of stay away from that.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Indy game would really bum me out if that was just really horrendous weather, because Indy's pass defense is so bad.
I know.
I was like licking my chops, you know. DFS line up there with Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews stack. I was like, yeah, baby, give it to me. Stupid weather.
I know. Well, let's hope it, like last time this was supposed to happen, it came a day early. So let's just hope that it misses us on this one. And I got to mention for your Jets, the NFL, if it means anything to you, Howard, the NFL personally came out and for you, they admitted that the John Franklin Myers, the roughing the passer on Dak Prescott that had a huge impact on the game. Well, they came out and said that they shouldn't have called that penalty, Howard. Does that make you feel better?
No, because once you admit to botching a call, like then all of a sudden now you're opening up that big can of worms. And you know, I just, everybody pisses and moans about the officiating in basketball, and they say that, you know, home court advantage is true, that refs call fewer fouls on the home team. Everybody's championing, you know, robotic umps in baseball because of the blown calls, because Angel Hernandez is a terrible umpire.
The worst.
And you know, we get all this nonsense with football too. What's a catch? That was interference. Here was a roughing the passer call. They're too protective of quarterback. Like all of that stuff comes in there. And once you admit that something shouldn't have been called, but it was, like you're opening up so much to you know, for all the crybabies.
Right, for sure. And then now you get into the land of makeup calls and all that. So it's I don't know, man. I would like for them to have a process of grading these referees and the umps so that we could potentially remove the ones, or at least put them in less impactful situations, the ones that are consistently not good at it. I mean, because there are umpires. We see the grades for the umpires in baseball, and what stinks is I don't remember any of their names because you only remember the bad ones. Right? Like some of these guys are amazing. Like some of these guys, I see the score sheets and I'm like, wow, that dude got one ball and strike wrong. You know, it's like pretty impressive. So maybe we should, but just, releasing it on Twitter, that's just causing a disaster. And, you know, I'm not sure if we need it. So that's about it for the news. Do you want to do questions or do injury info first, Howard?
Let's hit a couple of questions. We got Thursday night football. We got, you know, I mean, the Giants are missing half their offensive line. They don't have Saquon Barkley. I doubt that the 49ers even have a need to push Brandon Ayuk if they don't have to.
Yeah.
So, you know, people are sitting there setting their lineups, trying to sweat some of these decisions. So yeah, let's see if anybody's got some Thursday night questions. Coop, what do you got?
We got a trade question here from Rod Elliott. Would you trade Nico Collins and Cam Akers for Mike Evans? His RBs would now be Bijan, Javonte, Swift, and Zach Moss after moving Akers. I mean,
you know, I don't think I would, only because I want to see what happens with Cam Akers. I'm not ready to do that. And Nico Collins is the target monster there in Houston. I don't love CJ Stroud. But again, it's about opportunity. And if he's going to see 10, 12 targets per game because Houston's always behind and they're throwing the ball, I'm in for that. I like Mike Evans, but I definitely feel like the Baker Mayfield early season Tampa Bay magic is going to fizzle.
And the other thing for Rod, who asked this question, Mike Evans is probably going to take a value hit over the next couple of weeks, and it will be easier to acquire. I'll be looking to acquire Mike Evans in my leagues in like 2 weeks from now, when he goes out and faces Darius Slay this week and then faces Marshawn Lattimore the following week, and the price cools off on Mike Evans. That's when you slide in there. Buying him right now before those two matchups after a monster game is kind of you're kind of. I think the guy selling Mike Evans is trying to sell you a hot price, right?
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's buy low, sell high. The guy who's got Evans is selling high after a huge game. Yeah, you don't want to be on that other side of the coin.
Yes.
For the same token, you're not trading away Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow either, because I'm sorry,
It's been 2 weeks,
you're
dude.
not going to get value out of it.
Right. Rod has one more question. Kyron Williams straight up for Debo Samuel. I think even we've been pretty low on Debo, but I think I would still take Debo, man. I don't know. What do you think? Kyron's
I would probably
great.
take Debo. I mean, yeah, again, his running backs are, I mean, he's got great backs in Bijan, Javante Kamara, but I don't know what's going on with Najee right now. I would probably just hold Kyron Williams. I mean, the dude's getting the rock in LA, and he's going to continue to. So I would just kind of hold that. I do like Debo, though. I'm not going to lie. I do like Debo.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's getting the carries still, right? So it's definitely interesting there. Sean123. Is this the same Sean that came over from Twitch? If so, shout out Twitch game. If not, Sean, what's up either way? Need advice on a trade.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't have your Twitch game going here, Kuba? If you don't, then I'll do it for you.
What's up, Twitch gang, baby? How we doing? We love y'all out there.
What's up, Twitch?
Thanks for joining us. So we got Najee. Trade is Najee, Damian Pierce, and Kyle Pitts for James Cook. So I would rather have Damian Pierce and Kyle Pitts for James Cook. That's a boatload of players. The rest of his team is Mixon. Here it is on the screen here. Yeah, the rest of his team is Mixon, Brian Robinson, Jerome Ford, Brown. In that case, is who?
Mixon, Brown.
I guess Brown would be a running back, but no, it's probably just AJ Brown.
I don't know.
I think it's got to be.
I'll have to find out. But either way, I love James Cook. I don't love Damian Pierce this year. I don't love Najee right now. It's a little bit of an overpay, but I mean, you're consolidating, and it opens you up to make some other roster moves if you want.
And he's got JT on the IR. I just let us know who your tight end is. If your tight end is fine, then I would do it. Like whatever option you have, getting rid of Pitts, yeah, go for it, man. Let's see, anything else in here? Too much to ask. Bijan and Ridley for DK, Kyron, and Kirk. I mean, if you can get Bijan and Ridley, you do it. So no, that's.
I mean, yeah, you can make the offer, but I don't know if they're going to take it. There's such big name marquee names, right? There's such marquee names that it's always going to be tough. But I mean, if you can convince them to take DK Metcalf, Kyron Williams, and Christian Kirk, I would do that. I would do that.
Rex, we're not doing so. If you want the weekly rundown where we hit every single game, that'll be quick outs on Wednesday is the best place for that. Or on Friday, we cover every game. But to your point, if Derek Stingley Jr. is out, and I think they put him on IR, so I think he is out. Like it's wheels up. It's wheels up for the only problem. The only thing I worry about is that Jacksonville is just going to win two-handedly, and there won't be opportunity to throw as much, but they're going to be scoring early and often on that team. Houston's in big trouble. Justin Fields or Tua to start this week, Howard?
Justin Fields or Tua? I'm going to start Tua.
Tua, yeah, for sure. Would you play?
Like that's the thing. Like Denver with their secondary, I get it. Denver's got a great secondary. They do. They're also traveling after having lost 2 games at home, and they're traveling down to Miami. And you're telling me that somebody's not going to be hanging out at the club in Miami on Saturday night?
Miami flu. Get the Miami flu glasses on for that one. Right there. That's there.
Where's,
right there. Baby.
Where's my cold compress?
Yeah, that's. Let's see. Derek Carr versus Green Bay or Daniel Jones tonight. Here we got a question for Thursday. That's what we're talking about, Angie. Thursday night football. Let's go. I kind of like Derek Carr though.
I guess I would have to. Yeah, I'd have to lean Derek Carr. I mean, I just don't know what happens with this Giants team against the 49ers. You're dealing with, again, Thomas is out. Bredesen, I think that's how I'm pronouncing his name.
Yeah.
He's out. There's a left guard and left tackle. They're just there. So you're getting a shuffle up there of the offensive line. There is no number one wide receiver. Darren Waller, great. But you know what? For the last 2 weeks, San Francisco's given up an average of 17 yards to the tight end. And that was what? Freiermuth in week 1.
Yeah.
And then who'd they play last week? I can't remember, like all of a sudden.
They played, it was the Rams, Higbee.
The Rams. All right. So Higbee. So they shut down Higbee and they shut down Freiermuth. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna look at Darren Waller a little less from him. I might have to go lower on some of his props.
Ooh, a little underdog action there. Hey, there you go. We'll have to get into that soon. Let's clear the deck. We're almost done here. Tony Medeiros wants to know Josh Reynolds for Tyler Algier, and our own John Impemba. He is beating the Josh Reynolds drum to the point where he doesn't even think that the Jameson Williams return is going to have a mega impact on Josh Reynolds. So,
I don't know
about that. First
round
I
don't know about that. That's like saying that the return of Cooper Kupp is not going to affect Puka Nacua.
Right. Come on. Like the targets are going to come from somewhere. So I don't know. I think I would probably just Algier. Running backs are so valuable. It's so hard to trade away a guy that I got 16 carries last week. 16 carries. I mean, that's more than most starting running backs for probably half the teams. So you got to just keep the guy that's getting the ball.
Yeah.
Obviously,
if this guy is looking to handcuff Bijan to Algier, ask for something a little better, right? Maybe offer up a second player and say Algier and so for a better player. Like if they really want to hang on to, get that running back handcuffed there, then maybe that's the move.
Right. You got to think about it too. Like no injury to Amon-Ra St. Brown or Laporta or anybody is really going to turn Josh Reynolds into a megastar. He's always going to be Josh Reynolds. But if Bijan gets hurt, now Algier goes from what he is now to what he was last year. We got a friend of the show, our boy Herms. He's over at Draft Sharks. He says, greetings. Sometimes industry folks need help. I mean, I ask for second opinions all the time. I check with Mpemba, I check with Howard. So never be too proud to say, hey, what do you think about this? For my lineup, Breece Hall, Kenneth Gainwell, Khalil Herbert, or Kendre Miller. No wonder you need help. Dude.
Oh, geez.
That's a mishmash, man. I personally think I still go with it. They're all splitting to some degree. I think you still just go Breece Hall and just hope that he's breaks one off like we've seen,
Yeah. I mean, Patriots, they can struggle against the run at times. And I think Breece is out of these guys. I mean, listen, I love Gainwell, but we don't know how much, Swift's performance really seeped into the coach's mind. Khalil Herbert, I'm not in on at all. And Kendre Miller, he's coming back from injuries. It's his first NFL game. And he's going to share the workload with Tony Jones. So, yeah, I guess I would say I would go with Breece as well, Herms.
Better cast in the chat here wants to know Kittle higher or lower 4.5 receptions tonight. Folks out there, go download the Better Cast app right now, spelled exactly how you see on the screen, because we'll be covering the game tonight. There's games you can play. So the questions are preloaded. I'm sure that one's in there. You go in, pick the answers to all the questions. You win points that you can redeem on our site for autographed jerseys, autographed helmets. Later, we're going to have Fanatics gift cards. We're going to be doing private viewing parties. Super cool. We hang out in the chat there just talking about the game, So download the Bettercast app now. Get that checked out. For that one, I'm waiting, since we have the luxury of waiting until inactives are out. If Ayuk is out, I'm going to go higher on that. If Ayuk's playing, then I'm going to probably go lower. It's simple as that for me. Consolidation of targets, boost them up. So there you go. Let's see. Trade Marvin Mims in a second for Nico Collins. This obviously is a dynasty question.
I mean, listen, I think I would. If you're in a win now mentality here, then Nico Collins is the number one target right now for CJ Stroud. I'll do that. I mean, listen, I like Marvin Mims. I think that there's talent there, but you give me a healthy Jerry Jeudy, you give me a healthy Cortland Sutton, and really, where is Marvin Mims? And what's going to happen with that? I'm not going to I think if I'm competing right now this year, then I'd rather have Nico Collins on my roster.
I'm with you 100%. Like, play to win. Not too many people in Dynasty, they forget that you got to actually win the league at some point, right? These hypothetical victories people are collecting where they're going to go back to back to back in 2008, 2028 through 2029. If you asked Kyle Shanahan, there might not even be a 2029. So
That is true.
Yeah, let's rapid fire these, and then I'll do injuries real quick, and we'll move on.
Go for it. I'm ready.
Kyron for Smokey the Cat. Kyron or Debo trade?
I want Kyron right now.
Yep. Bench stash for Big Mac. Charbonnet or Akers?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna stay with Charbonnet. Actually, listen, I like Kenneth Walker and all, but you never know what's gonna happen there. Akers is still a major question mark. Charbonnet, is next man up.
Yep. Hal, Olave or is Olave a top 12 guy moving forward? Matchup proof. I don't know if anybody's matchup proof necessarily.
Well, if he's matched up with Derek Carr, yeah, maybe maybe there's a problem there. I love Olave. I won't give up on Olave. Give me all the shares of Olave.
Tell you what, we have Jair Alexander this week, so let's see how matchup proof he is. Kincaid versus Musgrave, been streaming tight ends. I'm sticking with Kincaid for now. The difference, and I have Kincaid over Laporta as well, and the reason being, the Bills are what they are. They built this offense, and it's what they've built. This is what they wanted it. With the Packers, Christian Watson's coming back right now this week, so big week for Musgrave to see where he fits in. And also with the Lions, you got Jameson Williams coming back. So some offenses, we're seeing what the offense is. Some other ones, we actually don't know what it's going to be. And at the most important time in fantasy football, down the stretch, they could be adding big target pieces, right? You got to remember, this Christian Watson is good. Jameson Williams, they traded up to get him in the first round. So you have to be wary of that with the guys like that. Pick 2 in a half PPR, Howard. You got Garrett Wilson, Rashad White, Michael Pittman, Nico Collins, and we'll probably just leave Kenneth Gainwell off the list because I can't start Gainwell over at those guys. So got to pick 2 out of Wilson, White, Pittman, Collins.
Half point PPR. Listen, if there's going to be weather issues, then I don't have a problem sitting Wilson. So I will go with I'll go with White and Collins. Actually, I don't know what I can expect out of Pittman because I don't even know who the quarterback is, and if it's Gardner Minshew, I am not interested.
Yeah, for sure. And, that game versus the Jags, they're going to have no choice but to throw. I look at the game scripts for the Texans, and I'm like, oh, man, they're throwing a ton. They've done 109 dropbacks, and then I look at their schedule, and I'm like, when is the throwing going to stop? Like, how does it stop? I don't think it ever will. So I think it's you're not going to drop back 50 times every week, but I think there's going to be a lot of those. No question for this team. Lewis Brewster in the chat. Howard, listen to your show with the GM on Sirius XM. Thanks for all the knowledge.
Thank you, Lou.
Dude. Thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate that, Lewis.
You're the
Thank
man.
you.
Baby Santa. Yo, what up, fellas? Need help on this. Trade away Justin Fields, James Conner, and Mike Williams to get Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Fields, Conner, Williams.
It doesn't matter. I'm not making a move to trade for Amon-Ra St. Brown until I get full knowledge on what's going on with his toe. Because if it is turf toe, metal plate in your shoe or not, it's going to be a problem moving forward.
Right. And that's one of the injuries that you play at, guys play through it and they play ineffectively, and then it hurts like hell for the next few days, and then they play through it and they play ineffectively and it hurts like hell. Like, it doesn't go away. That is one of the worst injuries for fantasy football because the guys will play through it and they'll just play at like a 15-20% decrease in production. It really is awful, dude. Because you can play and it hurts, which in football, that means you can play. Right. It really is a tough one. Rapid fire on the injuries. Barkley out for tonight. Wando Robinson in. Brandon Ayuk, we're still waiting. That's for Thursday. Yesterday, guys that missed practice. Howard, stop me if there's anything that jumps out to you as crazy. Austin Eckler said he's progressing, but probably not going to play this week. Jamal Williams missed practice. This one, Howard, I want to get your thought on. Bryce Young, 2 practices in a row now. He's out. And I heard that it actually might be trending towards Andy Dalton starting. So,
which, it's it's kind of a non-entity for me because I don't have, very much. I don't have either of those quarterbacks that I'm worried about. And the only receiver that I have on, any kind of rosters is actually Jonathan Mingo.
Right.
who serves as a deep threat. And so it doesn't matter if it's Bryce Young chucking the ball downfield or if it's Andy Dalton chucking the ball downfield. I got some Miles Sanders. I think maybe it's a lateral move for Sanders because, I mean, the passing game will have to stay the defense will have to stay honest against the passing game, no matter who's the QB under center. So Sanders stays Sanders. So it doesn't really move the needle for me much in fantasy. For you super flexers out there, though, who have Bryce Young, well, that's a problem.
Right, exactly. When you have these young QBs, the move to the backup is actually pretty lateral compared to this isn't Joe Burrow going to Jake Browning, right? So I know. Hey, Jake Browning, we'll see what you can do. I'm rooting for him. I always root for those guys that we first time ever see him play him. Yeah, you root for those guys.
Can he Wally Pip Joe Burrow?
The Wally Pip, dude. Well, we gonna see. 3 quick ones, all the same, and it's always the case with this particular injury. Jalen Waddle, Logan Thomas, Anthony Richardson, all in concussion protocol. If they are out, you start them because that means they're full goes. But if they do not get cleared, then they do not play. Devontae Adams is back at practice. Jacoby Myers is back at practice. So they are cleared concussion protocol. They are full goes. Other players that you're going to want to monitor. David Montgomery trending towards probably not playing. Aaron Jones did not practice. Zay Jones did not practice, which if Zay Jones doesn't play, now we're back to, okay, now we have a Texans matchup and consolidated targets, right? So it's Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. Now we're feeling good. Amari Cooper with the groin could have been, he takes veteran days all the time, so we don't know. Dawson Knox with a back situation. We'll have to monitor that, but he's been playing a lot of mixing matching at wide receiver a lot with Dalton Kincaid. So if he's out, Kincaid more snaps, but Kincaid might have to play some inline. So I don't know if it really changes things too much for Kincaid. OBJ's got the ankle. He's also dating Kim Kardashian, as I found out, trying to figure out.
Bonus for him for dating Kim. Good job, Mazel Tov. She's a looker.
Yeah, attaboy. Justice Hill maybe out.
She got a great ass.
Please, Vern. So that's the thing with Odell is it's so hard to find out injury news because there's always a million things going on. I found that he's got a Nike lawsuit going on and all sorts of stuff. Just tell me if he's going to play. Isaiah Pacheco could miss. Justice Hill could miss. Kadarius Toney is always consistently stealing with some kind of injury. And then Braxton Jones to IR for the Bears is bad. That's their starting left tackle. And we talked on it earlier. Derek Stingley Jr. hurt for the Texans, which is really bad for them. Back in practice, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Watson, and Brandon Cooks practice on a limited basis. So there you go. That's the rundown from Wednesday. Keep an eye out on news for today.
There you go.
Oh, I'm ready for underdog, Howard.
Are you ready for a little underdog? Well, let's talk a little underdog then, right? A little higher, a little lower, a little stat lines here. Listen, Underdog Fantasy offers new contests and chances to win every single day. You can play their pick'em contest by choosing higher or lower from anywhere from 2 to 5 players. The more players you pick, the higher your return is, the more money you can win. So you can do this for MLB, NFL. You're going to be able to do it for PGA, NBA, and NHL when those start up, right? And Underdog Fantasy also is offering daily drafts with leagues ranging from 2 to 12 players. I know that our boy John Impemba had a really nice sweat on the Battle Royale contest over there at Underdog, and you've got another one here also where you can make picks during the game with in-game pick'em if you want. So, I mean, Underdog Fantasy's just loaded up with all sorts of contests that you can do before the games start, during the games. We love the pick'em stuff here, the higher or lower. All you need to do is sign up at fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use the promo code ALARM. First-time depositors get 100% match up to $100. Again, fantasyalarm.com/underdog, promo code ALARM. Now, we talked yesterday about their 100K Sunday and Tyreek Hill and, getting something in on there, the 91.5 total yards. Yesterday, we were both on the higher for that. Are we still on the higher?
Yes. Yep.
Great. Then let's look at the freebie. Daniel Jones tonight, half a total yard there. So, listen, I love his stat line of 37.5 rushing yards. I like the higher on that. So for Daniel Jones, more than half a yard total. Yes, higher on that. It's a little freebie. It's a nice little gimme. Give me another one though, Coop. Give me a higher or lower that you like for tonight's game. and I'll give one, and let's see if we can't give somebody a little 3-pick contest here.
Yeah, so I got a good one, and this is a fun one to root for, and it's not on offense. I'm going to go with Bobby Okereke. Came over from the Colts, now playing linebacker for this squad. This dude. So I've heard it both ways. Is it Okereke
I know, I've heard it like
or
100
Okereke?
ways.
I've heard a million ways.
I think Okereke sounds more fun.
It sounds better, doesn't it? So I said Bobby Okereke for a year, and I love the sound of it. But then I keep hearing, I think it might be Okereke. But either way, he's a fun player to watch, dude. He's all over the field. 151 combined tackles last year, and the number is set at 8. So I'm going higher on the 8. In last year, he had 8 tackles in 11 games, and he had 7 in at least 14. This guy is, I would be shocked if this guy only had like 3 or 4 tackles. And this is a team that, when you look at the weapons, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, they don't get too far away from the line of scrimmage. So it's not really, Ayuk's a guy that goes deep. He might not even play. So there's going to be a lot of short plays, plays over the middle where he can jump in there and get those 8 tackles. And it's just fun watching this guy and saying, okay, where's my guy? Where's my number? Okay, there's 1. There's 2. And when you get up to like 5 or 6, it's like, get him. So it is fun to root for those. Yeah, get him in there. 8 tackles for Bobby. Let's go.
All right. I like that. Higher than 8 combined tackles for Okereke, however you want to do it. I'm going to go
number 58. That's what you're rooting for.
I'm going to go with the Giants here for tonight's game. Also, I'm going to go in a little different capacity. I know that the Giants have already talked about the fact that they're going to deploy a committee backfield today. Matt Breida, Gary Brightwell, and Eric Gray. Listen, I'm not going to invest too heavily in Brightwell or Eric Gray, but Matt Breida, who catches passes out in the flat, we're going to see a lot of checkdowns, I think. I mean, the pass rush is going to be brutal, I think. And we're going to see a lot of, I think we're going to see a lot of passing, just some checkdowns to Matt Breida for Daniel Jones. 12.5 receiving yards for Matt Breida. Seems a little low to me. I'll say higher. I know that when you see something that low and you're like suspicious about it, I'm still going to say higher. It's just when you talk about game script, game flow potential, that's where I'm going. So I'm going to put together a contest with Breida, higher than 12.5 receiving yards. Okereke, higher than 8 combined tackles. And I'm just going to put that in with the Daniel Jones, higher than half a yard, and laugh my way to the bank.
So here's the curveball, Howard. It makes you pick more than one team. So we got to throw in something from the 49ers here. If we throw in something from the 49ers, the bet is $10 to win 100, right?
Okay.
So
looking pull me a 49er prop here. Let's see. Let's talk about who we like for tonight's action. I mean, what's McCaffrey's props?
Yeah, so 78.5 rushing yards, 17 rushing attempts. So I would have smashed that because he played every snap last week, but then the coach came out and said that they're going to use Elijah Mitchell. It was a mistake that he didn't get used. So maybe go under on the rushing.
I'd go lower. I'd go lower on the carries.
Lower on the carries. Yeah. So, okay. So those are our 4. Daniel Jones, freebie. Matt Breida, higher on 12.5. Bobby, higher on 8 tackles. And then the lower on CMC, $10 to win 100, and it feels like it's already happened. I feel like I'm going to spend the money right now before the game even starts.
Well, you got to go buy some baby formula.
I do. Yeah. I'll tell you what, quick shout out.
How is baby Laney, by the way? Huh?
Baby Laney's doing great. She keeps me up at night, but I've been strapping her up, writing, at my computer. I sit on a yoga ball when I work from home with Laney. We call it bouncy homework, Howard. We do a little bouncy homework in this house. So, but shout out to Ani Coop, who's here at the house. She's watching the show downstairs, watching Laney right now, watching the dog Lufa. I'm sure they're having a blast. So shout out Ani Coop. What's happening?
What's happening, Ani Coop? Hey, how's the new phone? Right? She ran into a buddy of mine apparently outside the Verizon store. My boy Truck, who I'm in the GST, the Greenwich Street Tavern League with for fantasy football, and apparently the two of them met for the first time. So much love to Coop.
Yeah, and Truck had a lot of nice things to say. On the new phone front, that's we're working on it, Howard. Ani Coop is maybe the only person in the world that says too much new stuff. She wants her old phone back. I'm like, Coop, this phone's much better. You're going to like it. Got to give it a chance. So we got her set up with the show, with the YouTube and everything. She's good to go. So shout out on it, Coop. Yeah. But I do feel that sometimes I don't like change, right? I just want things to stay the same. So
just give me a phone that makes phone calls. That's all I need.
That's right, dude. That's right.
I got a computer and I'm a shut-in. I have a laptop, and if I go to the other room, there you go. I don't need to.
Hey, everybody, an old man's talking.
That drop, dude. It's always perfect, man. It never misses. It never misses.
I'm just gonna, I'll see myself out.
Yeah, no, you're good, dude. Get back here. So yeah, that's it for our Underdog. Get that going. Get the promo code alarm right now. Get set up. If you're not on Underdog, you're outside of your mind. It's the best place to do best ball, best place to do these games. So get set up there. Get your questions in the chat. And reminder, folks, tonight, 7 to 8 p.m., John and Pemba and I, right before the game, we're going to be talking about the game coming up. We'll get you your inactives, which will be officially out. And we just answer every single question. That is like rapid fire crazy. So get those in. Howard, for this last segment here, I was hoping to get your opinion on there's a ton through 2 weeks with the sample sizes. There's a ton of teams that have battles going on for the last wide receiver spot, for the running back spot. So I wanted to ask your opinion if I can only roster one with some guys. You got time for that? I put together a list here.
Yeah,
I've been getting a lot of questions on it, and some of them I'm like, I don't know. So, for instance, the biggest one I'm getting all over the place is the Packers, right? Everyone loves Christian Watson, but with him coming back, might only be room for one wide receiver. So are you a Romeo Doubs guy, or are you going with the shiny new rookie Jaden Reed?
I'm a Romeo Doubs guy. I think he's a fantastic route runner. I think he's going to be the guy. Christian Watson is that deep threat. He's the home run ball. Dobbs is the guy who, who helps move the chains. So if you're in a PPR format, Romeo Dobbs is definitely a guy that you're going to want there. Especially, Jaden Reed, it's like right now, it's the gimmicky plays and it's the some of the deep work. So give me Dobbs.
Yeah, we already hit on Akers and Madison. What about for running back, Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson? That one,
gross.
I know it's gross. And the thing is, I feel like if Roschon would just get more snaps, or if the snaps were even, I would feel good about Roschon. But Herbert's playing more. So if you could only roster one, Howard, who you go with?
If I can only roster one, I'm still gonna tag Roschon Johnson to sit on my bench. I'm gonna use that because I think there's potential there. I think there's upside there. If there wasn't, then why did the Bears draft him? Why did the Bears sign Deonta Foreman? Because they weren't sold on Khalil Herbert.
I'm with you on that. And a good example would be like if you look at Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. Mostert is doing it. He's getting it done. He's doing the workload. So it's easier to roster him versus Achane. With this situation where everything's in flux and Khalil Herbert isn't playing well, I just say, hey, you know what? Give me in that situation, if I don't even have a starter, just give me the upside. Just give me the unknown upside. I will walk into the unknown with you with Roschon Johnson. So I'm with you there. Here's another one where it's the classic battle of one guy is playing all the snaps, and I mean all of them. Alec Pierce played every single snap last week, but Josh Downs as the slot guy, he doesn't play all the snaps, but he's running the shorter routes, easier to get the ball to. So what are you feeling there? Do you like Downs? Do you like Pierce?
Can I say neither?
I think you can. I think you honestly can.
I legit say neither. I don't know if I would want to roster. Unless I've got like a really deep bench. I would probably just say Alec Pierce, but right. I don't really love the pairing because I just don't love the offensive situation.
Yeah, I say right now, if you have to pick one, it's Pierce. If keep an eye on the snap count article I do every Wednesday. That's up now. If it ever flips and Downs is the guy playing the slot but staying out for two wide receiver sets, then I would be very interested in Downs, I think. But right now I can't. He's like Tyler Boyd. He comes out when they get to the goal line. They have all these tight ends they use, so kind of hard to trust him. This one we've kind of talked to death. Do you want to do Jerome Ford versus Kareem Hunt? Is that worth
Jerome
doing?
Ford.
Yeah, I'm with you.
100%.
We talked about that yesterday. For quarterback question here, Kenny Pickett versus Sam Howell. Let's say, 2 QB league or Superflex league. Who would you trust? Sam Howell kind of Someone some laser beams.
Yeah, I'm leaning Howell also. I think Howell's probably. I mean, listen, I don't mind Kenny Pickett. The problem right now is that offense is just terrible. Matt Canada is not doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's not catering to his players' strengths right now. So I'll take Sam Howell.
Scott Frankel in the chat, noted UNC Tar Heels fan. Hey, we're 1 for 2 on UNC. We didn't pick Downs, but we picked your boy Sam Howell. So that's something. That's something. We're giving you something, dude. 50% ain't bad for Tar Heels. We talked about this one a little bit. Actually, you already answered this one, which was with the Panthers. When DJ Chark came back, Terrace Marshall went back to a partial snap share. The full-time guys are Thielen and Mingo, but you like Mingo better, right?
I mean, I like Mingo, but I just have more Mingo right now. I think if you're in a PPR format, you want Adam Thielen because he's at least seeing all those targets right now. I know Mingo was seeing targets, but I mean, how many catches versus targets did Mingo have this past week alone just because of the errant throws? I mean, he's not being credited with a drop, but they are crediting a target going his way, whether it was a catchable ball or not. I think Thielen is probably your higher floor type guy.
Right. Yeah, he's not going to have a lot of yak, but he's at least getting the looks.
Yeah.
So if Isaiah Pacheco showed up on the injury report, and now they're saying that he might not be able to go. I think it's a toe. So if you had to pick one to fill into a lineup or DFS or whatever, yeah, there you go. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Hi, dude. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man.
I didn't even need to have you set it up. That's I can't do Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I just it's just a shame. Crazy that he was going 1 or 2 in dynasty leagues, man. That's a tough pill to swallow. That even when the day 3 pick that is starting now gets hurt, you can't start him. That's just on the Chiefs of all teams.
What was always the funniest with CEH for me was when Kareem Hunt was there and I don't remember who's the starting running back that got hurt. And
it was Chark. We call him Charknado. It was Charvarius Ward, was it or no?
Was it Charvarius Ward? Was he the guy at that point? Either way,
3 guys that got hurt. It was a Williams and then Ward and then Hunt came in, right?
Well, so whoever it was, like when that happened, Kareem Hunt was the type of back where I was like, oh, you know what? I'll definitely take him at the back end of the second round. And people thought I was bonkers for doing it, but I was like, Andy Reid, running back. It's his one guy who can go between the tackles and can catch passes also. So kind of like a real Andy Reid type guy. So I took Kareem Hunt, earlier than a lot of other people, and it hit for me. Right. Then I remember when Damian Williams got hurt and CEH was just drafted, and all of a sudden people were taking CEH at the back end of the first round. And I was like, no, different style player, different kind of, feel about him. I'm really not going to, I don't want to invest in him. And I think, a lot of people are just, again, that's the college fans trying to carry it over to the NFL level and think that, it automatically translates. It doesn't.
Yeah, and the chat's got our back. So Charvarius Ward is their cornerback. Charkandrick West was the running back. That was Charknado. And then they had Darrell Williams and Damian Williams, which was the hang up there. So
I believe that's Darrell, actually.
Sorry, Darrell. I retract that. Much like Justin Fields, I want to retract my previous statement. So.
I didn't say Darrell. I said Darrell.
Right here
I
on the
say Darrell? You guys are changing my words around here.
You changed my words around. He literally just says the word coaching and then nothing. We're coming up on time. We're getting close here. We got one more question here from Ty. 10-man PPR, start 1 QB, 2 RB, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So he's got Hurts, CMC. I mean, look at this.
I'm just going to pause it here. We're going to answer this question, but us setting your whole lineup for you, no. Like, who belongs in your lineup?
You're starting. I mean, like Hurts and CMC are obviously in there. Waddle's in there. Hawk is in there. Godwin's in there. So we just got to pick 1 flex and 1 running back, which is James Cook for me, and then pick one of Ayuk, Kirk, Dotson.
I mean, I guess I'll probably go Dotson here. I mean, Ayuk's probably not gonna. I don't
not
see
playing.
Ayuk playing tonight, so
No.
it comes down to Dotson versus.
You know what? If Zay Jones is out, I might go Kirk. Otherwise, start Dotson. That's the way I look at it.
Okay,
Does
perfect.
that make sense? Yeah.
That
If
makes sense.
Zay Jones in, then go Dotson. Yeah, easy enough. There we go. So, did you want to hit on anything else, Howard, today? What did you? I have a few more of those tough ones there with the teams. If you want,
Yeah, go ahead. Give me another one there. I could do that. I mean, listen, unless you've got a sister to hit on for me.
I'm not disclosing the name of my sister on this show. Thank you very much. Burn. Ani Coop's watching the show, Howard. Don't make me send her over the West Coast, okay? So
I think I'm old enough I can hit on Ani Coop.
Get out of here, dude. This one is meaningful here. Meaningful question is being asked here. Is it getting hot in this room? Is it?
I look at the body.
So Nico Collins, we like. He's locked in. They use a fullback, so the third, whoever ends up being third is going to maybe an odd man out. Robert Woods has kind of been the guy, but Tank Dell, looking at the snaps this week, kind of even split between the wide receivers. Robert Woods or Tank Dell for last roster spot for a team that's throwing a lot of pass. Not the ball doesn't look great, but it's being thrown a lot, right?
It is. I'm sorry. I got distracted by Ty being like, we didn't read your question properly. He traded Najee and Kirk for Jacobs. Is that a W?
Sorry. Yes. I'd say
no,
yeah.
I don't think that's a W.
Really? I mean, John Jacobs is awesome.
Is he?
He can be. He has the potential to be awesome.
He's got the potential to be awesome. Absolutely. But yeah. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little nervous about Jacobs again. I don't know what kind of conditioning yet. I mean, he looked terrible here in week 2. What do you have? Like 9 carries for like -3 yards. And I get, it's fine. It's matchup based, but I don't love that offensive line for the Raiders. And I mean, listen, maybe I'm like holding out maybe a little too much hope for Najee that things kind of straighten it out. I am expecting some sort of a fall guy, whether it's going to be getting rid of Canada or whatnot. That I know that Tomlin's going to go back and he's going to try and fix some things there. I mean, listen, maybe at best it's a lateral move. I can't. I'm not going to buy into Jacobs right now because I don't know what his conditioning is. If he ends up with like a hamstring issue, right? Because he's not properly conditioned and he's not effective, and the offensive line stinks. I kind of worry about that.
Yeah, but I will say, in theory, the lineup that has James Cook in it and Jacobs at the flex is pretty nice versus James Cook and Jahan Dotson in the flex. So I don't know. You're right, Howard. I think I'd rather have the depth. You're giving up 2 players. Again, in these situations, who you add off waivers matters too. Victor, DFS tonight, Debo or Ayuk. We're going Debo regardless, right, Howard? Even if Ayuk plays. Yeah.
100%. 100%. All right. Well, listen, we're running out of time again tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here. Coop, John, and Pemba, they're going to answer every single one of your questions. You put a question into the chat, it will get answered. So don't sleep on that. 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, right here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel. That's going to do it for us, though, here. Thank you so much for all your questions and watching. Smash that like and subscribe button. For Andrew Cooper, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Alarm Fantasy Football. Catch you next time.